I'm really happy to be with you today to share with you a few ideas on the roles that collaboration and ethics and compliance play and need to play in your division, in your business, and in mine. We've had a wonderful example of what the lack of collaboration would do. Just look at Congress and the fiscal cliff. This is costly in more ways than one. The reputation of the Congress, the morale of the Congress, voters are skeptical, may affect the voting records, and it goes on and on and on. That's the cost of not being collaborative in our business. Let me link that up with the definition of ethics. Ethics is a tough decision with the payout at the end, and an unethical decision is the easy one and the payouts up front. To be ethical in today's corporate environment is to agonize over those tough decisions. And I mean agonize in a very positive way. We need to think these decisions through. Part of that will only happen if we're collaborative as individuals who participate in the wisdom of making those decisions. So let me give you today just a couple of points for you to consider in looking at collaboration and ethics and compliance as it affects your business, your division, as well as my business. Number one is trust and loyalty. Trust is the glue that holds relationships together. It's the basic building block of a friendship, of a marriage, and of a business. Without trust, you have nothing. Dr. Demeena Renshaw of Loyola University in Chicago coined the 4 T's of building relationships. She says in any relationship, number one is trust. I don't do business with people I don't trust. Do you do business with people you don't trust? It's the building block of our business, trust. You don't go to a lawyer or a doctor, a beautician, a barber, or anything if you don't trust them. Trust is key. Number 2, what's the personal touch you bring to your business? What's your value added? What do you bring to the table in your division? What's your gift? What's your talent? And when you understand that, you understand what your weaknesses are. And in a collaborative environment, then when you need to hire, you hire someone whose strength is your weakness. Then we all look good. Collaboration has a firm, fertile ground by which to grow. Number 3, it takes time to develop relationships. Every business must have goodwill. Goodwill brings in business, and that means being a servant to the client. What can I do for you? There's a great line from the book, If Aristotle Ran General Motors, by Tom Morris. And in this book, here's his definition of business. He says, business is a partnership of people creating in many ways a better life for others, as well as ourselves. Isn't that your business? Isn't that my business? And the overriding value is, what can I do for you to get you to cooperate with me? And that takes time, goodwill, and understanding what the vendor, the supplier, the customer, the client needs, and meeting that need. Number 4 is talk, although this could be a double-edged sword. I'm sure in high school or college, most of you, if not all of you, have taken a speech course. But how many of you have ever taken a listening course? I have a good friend of mine who's a marriage and family counselor, and you pay him to listen. But I bet that we're more charitable and understanding and compassionate to strangers, colleagues, vendors, suppliers, customers, etc., than we are to our own family members or significant others. Because the bottom line is really this. People like to do business with people they trust. And trust has to be built over time, and when that happens, you get loyalty. And it's a collaborative event. Number 2 is being accountable. Your position in your division can give you authority. But please understand this. Only your behavior can earn you respect and trust. Transparency is the key to building trust. It's not enough to be responsible. One must be accountable. Responsible is singular. I can be responsible and, kind of rationalize anything I want. But if I'm accountable to you. And isn't that another building block of being collaborative in discussions? To move this even further, we need to ask, how is this, whatever this is it a committee, a work project, a task, how will this help people feel like they belong, develop a unique identity, and feel significant? Belonging is key. When those three don't happen, when people don't feel like they belong, they don't feel significant, and they don't feel like they have a unique identity, you don't get collaboration, you get conflict. And so we need to focus on the sense of belonging, bringing people in a collaborative spirit to deal with the ethics and compliance issues in particular that you may be dealing with. Number 3, it's important to have a moral compass. The destination is secondary as to how you get there, and how gives you the directions to get there. I think there's a moral spiral that looks strange to us at times when we look at ethics and compliance and how it relates to collaboration as well. The moral spiral is simply this: no one makes a decision in isolation. Every decision you make affects other people, and it spirals. So you cannot make a decision in isolation. Another example would be every decision you make is like throwing a rock in a pond. No matter how big or how small that rock is, it displaces water. So when's the time to think about the rock or the decision? After you've thrown it or while it's in your hands? In your hand. Here is where ethics, compliance, collaboration needs to be. This is where we get the wisdom of those involved before you throw it. Because isn't this true? You have made decisions in your life, particularly in business, where you thought you knew what the ripples were going to be like, what the ramifications were. You threw the rock and there were ripples that came up that you didn't count on, that now you're accountable for. A moral compass helps us think this thing through, particularly with the 4 obligations I'm going to give you now. Number 1, always put people first in your decision making. Always. Because they, according to a lot of my clients, are the best asset that we have in a company is its people. But do companies actually live that in looking at how important people are in decision making? Number 2, respect for individual human dignity. You have a right to disagree with my behavior, but you don't have a right to take on my self-esteem. I learned this early in life. My father went through Northwestern School of Engineering in 3 years as a mathematical genius. I'm firstborn, full-blooded Sicilian father. Guess what I was supposed to become? An engineer. And so all the way through high school, he would sit with me, he'd sign me up for these classes of math and calculus and et cetera. And he would sit in front with me at the kitchen table, and he would work hours with me saying, finally, God, you're stupid. Or you must be your mother's side of the family. And someone who loves me very much told me I was stupid. I believed him. And I got A's and everything else in high school, D- in math. Got the second semester, senior in college, 2 credits short in math, only course opened, advanced calculus. I couldn't even spell it. I went to the prof's office and I said, you don't understand, I'm stupid. The professor looked at me and he said, there's no such thing as a stupid kid, and we did it together. And I got an A. And when the report card got home, my father looked at it and he said, there is a God. And then I sat down with him and I told him what he did to me. I said, I had it all along and you didn't see it. And I know that you love me, but you crippled me. And he cried and I cried. And I vowed in my teaching career never to equate a person's grade point average with their self-esteem. Never do that in the workplace. Never equate a person's behavior with their self-esteem. That's where collaboration and ethics really plays a very important role. Number 3, treat everybody fairly. If it's a code of ethics, it applies to everybody. Code of conduct applies to everybody. The mission statement applies to everybody. No exceptions. No exceptions. If it's good for the CEO, it's good for the new hire that just started yesterday. Treat everybody fairly. Number 4, be honest. If you have a short memory, always tell the truth. Because if you tell one lie, then you got to tell another one. And I had someone come up to me after a talk recently and said, but what if it's only a little white lie? I said, compared to what? A big chartreuse one? I mean, how does this work? A lie is a lie. And if you're going to be honest, isn't that transparency? And wouldn't that build collaboration? And wouldn't that solve any ethics or compliance situation pretty quickly? And number 5 is stewardship. Stewardship is what you do after you say you believe. In some companies, this is called corporate social responsibility. I call it stewardship. So you believe in ethics, and you have a code of ethics, and you have a compliance statement, and you have a code of conduct, and you have a mission statement. So what? Unless behavior flows from those beliefs, it doesn't mean a thing. Please remember, particularly in the workplace, people listen with their eyes. They don't listen with their ears. People watch what you do, not what you say. I'll give you an example. I had a client in New York that brought me in to do some training, and it was an afternoon program. I came in the morning, took a tour of the facility, and they took me through a place what I would call an employee workroom, and they had all these successories on the wall, these posters, persistence is, excellence is, yada, yada. So I asked this mid-level manager, who was taking me through a tour, so what do you think about all these successories? She says, it's useless. It doesn't mean a thing. I said, why? She said, senior level execs don't believe it. They just want us to read it. Now you have an us and them situation in that department. And guess who wasn't in my program that afternoon? So what I had to say maybe fell on deaf ears because we weren't all on the same page. See, that's the goal of compliance and ethics professionals and all in the division, to work together, to partner. Not that one has ultimate say and one doesn't, and one is more important than the other, but if we're going to be collaborative in ethics and compliance and partnership in moving this division, not just to survive, but to thrive in 2013, you've got to work together. And that is not only giving trust, but receiving it as well. Not only being accountable, but also seeing accountability. Not just having a moral compass, but sharing yours with those around you without fear of being criticized or retribution, etc. And it's important in stewardship that every day your behavior must reflect the values of the compliance and ethics division and department, your mission statement, your value statement, your code of ethics. You have to be a walking billboard for ethics and watch things begin to happen. So let me close with this. Something that I begin every day with, I encourage you to begin your day with a positive statement that deals with the decisions that you're going to have to make this day that'll make you more collaborative, more in sync with the ethics and compliance issues that you need to deal with. And it simply says this: this is the beginning of a new day, and I have been given this day to use as I will. And I will use it for good because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. And when tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something I have traded for it. I want it to be gain and not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall rejoice in the price that I paid for it. I wish you peace and good luck on your journey.